Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. We're currently calling this podcast the Random Encounter Podcast, or Random Encounter, an RPG news and review podcast. But this is subject to change. So if you have any ideas, leave those in the comments. But today I am Gavin, and I'm joined with my good homie DJ. Say what's up, man.
What's up, man? Also, just real quick, I don't know if you want to solely rely on the comments, just because what if there's a bunch of comments being like, call it the pee pee poo poo podcast?
Dude, if comments say call it the pee pee poo poo podcast, bro, I mean, I'm not just gonna skip past it, I'll
fucking
be in the consider
backlog.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it'll go on the list. It'll be a new segment.
Tight.
Okay, so real fast though, before we get into some news, speaking of YouTube comments, there was someone on the YouTube channel who goes by the name of Cyan Razor or Cyan Razor Cyan Razor Cell. I'm gonna say Cyan because that's how I pronounce Cyan in Final Fantasy
That's not how you say it. Unsubscribe.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you for your comment, man. He basically asked us if we could talk for just a little bit about a Nintendo DS game called Hotel Dusk. This is not an RPG, but he says it's good shit. He says it's got a lot of good talking points about that game. Have you done any research? Have you tried the game out for a little bit since we last recorded?
Well, I don't know how to try it out, but I definitely looked into it just before we started. Definitely has a lot of vibes of like Phoenix Wright, those types of games, and just a bunch of mystery games in general, like visual novels and stuff like that. And it seems interesting. I really like the art style and stuff, and how they're all like sort of pencil drawn and how they kind of move in that sort of way. I think is interesting. For me personally, I'm not really the type to play those types of games, honestly.
Sure.
Like, I don't know. Because I'm not really into games where like the gameplay is the story. You know what I mean? Like pretty much visual novels, like games like that, Danganronpa, stuff like that. Like, I'd be down to play it with somebody, but I personally probably wouldn't play it myself, to be honest.
That's fair. Yeah. I think the only other game that I've played that is kind of visual novel-esque that I know for sure I've like played through the end was Doki Doki Literature Club. And that's kind of, it was just one of those games. It was free to play on Steam. It was kind of a mind trip of a game. So, I stuck through with that one and I enjoyed it. But, like you said, this is not typically what I am drawn to. Like, I'm not trying to find the latest and greatest visual novel, But I do got a nice phone that can run some pretty good games on it. So I have a Nintendo DS emulator on here, which is helpful. So not gonna say how I got this video game on my phone or anything like that, but I have played it a little bit.
Okay.
I just finished the first chapter, and there, kind of like most visual novel games. It is kind of constantly like just story, There's almost little points in the game so far from what I've played where you're just kind of continuously moving forward and finding out new things about the story. There's been some really cool puzzle mechanics. There's been, I don't know. I'm actually really enjoying it. Yeah, just to say that I like this game. The way that the characters are drawn, it kind of, I don't know how they did it. It kind of looks like rotoscoping a little bit. It looks like, it kind of looks like these are actual actors, who, just did a few frames of movement and then they were hand drawn over them because they look really good. A few of the, little text conversations between these guys is like, looks really good. I am a fan of the way that these guys are drawn.
Definitely.
Yeah, nice art style. The gameplay is very interesting. This is a game that whenever you were to play it on the Nintendo DS, you kind of hold it like a book, It's like instead of a top screen and bottom screen, it's a left screen and a right screen. So it's very interesting. There's no like button controls at all. It's all purely touchscreen.
Mm-hmm.
And it all takes place in the 70s. So I guess from what I understand now, it's a 70s game. You play as an ex-cop. First thing you do is you go to this hotel. There's enough intrigue and mystery behind it to, make me kind of curious about what's going on here. Finding out more about this main character. It's intriguing enough. I may continue playing it. Maybe next week I'll give an update on where I'm at in the game, but I just finished chapter 1 and it's kind of got its hooks on. It's got its hooks in me. It's not an RPG, but it's got a story that, it's intriguing enough. It's kind of why I like to play video games in the first place. I like good stories. So far, it's got a great story.
Okay. This game also kind of reminds me of that other DS game. I've never played it, but have you heard of that one game, Professor Layton?
Yes, I did play through the entire first Professor Layton game. A long time ago.
I've never played those games, but this game definitely sort of gives that same vibes of that. It's like a mystery sort of game.
Professor Layton is kind of the same genre. It's a puzzle game. It's like a detective game, but Professor Layton is much more stylized to be something that might look a little bit more like a Studio Ghibli movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is cool. I loved that first game. I actually played it because there was going to be this whole like Phoenix Wright Professor Layton crossover video game. And I wanted to get caught up with the story because I like Phoenix Wright, But played that game, really fun, really enjoyable. This is just a bit more heavy and darker in tone and realistic. This is also developed by a game publisher that has gone bankrupt.
Oh, interesting.
They actually made Actually, let me see. It's called, the game is Hotel Dusk. This game is made by developer Sing or King Sing. Anyways, they one game that you might know is Monster Rancher DS. I don't know if you ever played. Yeah, so
not the DS one, but I know Monster Rancher.
But you do know Monster Hunter. They made Little King's Story for the Wii and like another code. Basically, they made this game, Hotel Dusk, in 2007. They made a couple other games afterwards, and then in 2010 they made Last Window, which is a direct sequel to this game, to Hotel Dusk.
Okay.
They basically made a couple. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They made 9 games from the time of 2003 to 2010, and then the last game that they made was the sequel to Hotel Dusk, and now they're bankrupt. So this is a game company that had some bangers. Like this Hotel Dusk game seems like a cult classic. But it looks like they're not coming back for any sort of like remakes or sequels or anything like that. So
that's
I don't know, kind of a shame. But anyways, thank you. Was it Cyan Razor?
Yeah, man.
Oh gosh, there's another part to it. Cyan Razor Cell. Thank you for recommending the game. I'm having fun with it. I'm glad to keep talking about it or whatever. But thank you for recommending it. If you're listening to this and maybe there's a game that we've already checked out before, or maybe a game that we've never heard of before, go ahead and just tell us what game you're interested in, what games that you think we might be interested in, or you just want to hear us talk about a game that we already know and love. Please go ahead and be as active in the comments or wherever you are listening to this podcast. If there's a comment section, just fucking talk to us. We love that.
Fuck yeah, tell us.
Yeah. So
shoot the shit.
Another thing. This is special for today. I don't know. This might be uploaded everywhere today, or it might be tomorrow, but today is March 9th, which is the 25th anniversary of Super Mario RPG.
Oh, tight.
Yes. Today is the birthday. Happy birthday, Super Mario RPG. Have you ever played that?
Nope.
Nice.
But I've always wanted to though.
Yes. Yeah, dude, me too. There's a few things that I do know about the game that make me really more interested in playing it, and that is one, this is one of the biggest breakout roles that the composer of the game made, and that is fuck, I'm blanking on her name. Hold on. Oh my god, I cannot believe I'm blanking on her name. Hold on, I got this. Let me look this up.
Yoko Shimomura.
Yoko Shimomura. If you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, you know the name Yoko Shimomura.
Yup.
She composed all of the music for this game, and you can kind of tell that this is sort of some early stuff for her. But if you're familiar with the Kingdom Hearts soundtrack and you listen to basically any song from this game, you will, it's kind of unrecognizable, her style. I mean, it's good. It's unique, but it is the soundtrack to this game that I mostly really want to play this game for.
Okay.
A couple of songs I've known from this game for years that always get stuck in my head, like Gino's theme or like the Woods song or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff about this game that I don't know a whole lot about, but I want to know. I want to know all about it because I want to play all of the Mario RPG games. I've never played like any of the Superstar Saga games or beaten any Paper Mario games.
Yeah, same. One thing I really appreciate about this game is just how different it is from the usual Mario like formula, whatever, like spin-off games. Like I really appreciate it when a brand or whatever like Super Mario does something completely different, like the RPGs or the sports games. Just take something that's like just the regular characters and then doing something completely different with it. Like for example, Yu-Gi-Oh! Like they have, just a bunch of regular Yu-Gi-Oh! Games where, you play the card game and stuff like that. It's pretty self-explanatory. But they also have a bunch of spin-offs that completely just change up the Yu-Gi-Oh! Formula, like Duels of the Roses or False-Bound Kingdom, which is literally just like Pokemon but with Yu-Gi-Oh! Monsters, or Capsule Monsters, which is just Yu-Gi-Oh! But chess. Like I really like it when franchises do something very unique and different with their regular thing. So I can appreciate that with this.
Oh, yeah. And is this, I'm fairly certain, is this the only Mario game that Square developed? I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
I know that it's like a Squaresoft game, so there's lots of...
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's some secret bosses in this game that are straight up other bosses from Final Fantasy games.
Oh, no, I think there is, yeah.
Yeah. So, a lot to love about that game. I haven't played it, but it is, it's been on my backlog for a while now.
Definitely. And speaking of like these types of games, Mario RPG games, I did play and beat Superstar Saga, and that was a very fun game. I mean, it's not your typical RPG in terms of the, like waiting turns, going through a menu like you typically do and stuff like that, but that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. So I definitely want to play Super Mario RPG and Paper Mario games.
Yeah, definitely. Is that a Game Boy game or is that a Nintendo DS game?
What?
Mario Superstar Saga. I can't remember.
It's a Game Boy game, but they remade it for the 3DS.
Oh, okay. Is that the one that you played, or did you play it on the Game Boy?
I played the Game Boy.
Okay, cool. Nice. Yeah, I gotta get on those games.
Definitely.
Okay. Next up, Final Fantasy XIV. We got it for free until
yes, sir.
Maybe. We got it for free.
March. I think until March 30th.
March 30th. 30th. Yes. Yeah. Guys, if you have never played Final Fantasy XIV, you can play this game. I think I don't know how it works. Maybe you can just get the free trial or something. But
yeah, if it's your first time playing it, you get a free 30-day trial, and then gotta keep going after that.
Okay, cool. Or if you're someone who maybe buys a month worth of the game every couple of months or so, right now maybe you've already done this, but I know sometime at the end of February they started doing this. But you can play this game for free right now. If you're taking a break because of money or something, you can play this game right now for free. You just turn on your game.
96 hours.
Yeah, you can play it. Oh yeah, that's the thing though. You got from until the 30th, you have 96 free hours to do it, which is a pretty fucking long time, dude. I mean, people got jobs and stuff, so obviously no one's going to be playing for a week straight. I mean, maybe you are. If you're out there and you playing this game for a week straight, dude, more power to you. Yeah.
Definitely.
Have you picked it up since this has been going on?
For a fact, like as soon as I texted you that like I discovered that, I immediately started playing.
Nice,
but
man.
what I'm doing is because I've already sort of beaten the first half of the story, because the first game is called A Realm Reborn, which has its own story, and I beat the first half of that, and there's a second half, which I'll eventually will beat. But I decided I already beat the first half, but it's been so long since I played it, and to be honest, I never really ever paid attention to the story of that game, that I'm going to restart, and this time I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to the story and what's going on and stuff.
Yeah, basically whenever I've been playing, there's so many side quests that I can sometimes feel a little overbearing whenever you're just like reading all that shit, but some of them are
I don't
really,
read the side quest shit.
Well, dude, some of them have been really interesting.
Really?
Like there's some side quests that kind of go hand in hand with moving the story forward.
Oh yeah.
But some of the side quests are like, if you do them, you can open up an entire new region of the map or something.
Oh,
but you don't have to progress the story. It's just like if you want to explore this world a little bit more, you can do those side quests. So some of them have been really cool. I haven't got to play it for a little bit. I started my subscription in January, basically played it through like all of January, took a break in February, and I haven't picked up this free month yet. But I definitely want to. This is my first time playing it. Definitely. Yeah, this is my first time playing it. I just got to the point where I can really start putting together like parties and stuff so that we can go like dungeon crawling and all that. So fucking come on, DJ, we got to do this.
Well, already kind of cuz I started when did I start? I think I started March 5th, and so my 4 days are already up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I eventually will pick this game back up because I'm going to try and beat all the other Final Fantasy mainline titles first, and then I'll come back to this one and just focus on it the entire time. But what's your main city?
I picked Limsa Lominsa, if that's how you pronounce it.
I think so. Limsa Loza or something like that.
Yeah, Limsa Lominsa.
Okay.
It's like the pirate place.
Yeah, that's where you can be like an axe dude or the
so
that
is the class that I chose, a martyr.
Oh yeah.
But right now I'm playing around with the like the thieves guild, because I just love the thief role and like just like stealth stuff. So currently, those are my two classes that I'm like working on leveling right now, is like the martyr and the thief role. Maybe there's a different name for it, but that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
What about you? Where did you start?
Ul'dah, the desert place. Like when I was gonna restart the game, I wanted to do something different. I mean, I've been to Gridania, like started a game with Gridania, the forest place, a couple of times, but Ul'dah's my home. I love all the classes in Ul'dah. You can be a black mage, or you can be a pugilist, or you can be a warrior. And I just like those three different options the best. And so for this round, I did pugilist, the monk class, the fisticuffs.
Okay, cool.
And right now, where I left off, like I'm like around level 19, and so I haven't done my first primal yet, which is like summons in their game.
Sure.
But I'm close.
Nice.
It's a fun game.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
My stipulation that I've had with Ul'dah is simply the fact that it's a desert place. And
really?
For me, dude, that's like anytime I'm playing like an RPG where you explore the whole like continent or whatever, the whole world. The desert places are pretty much always my least favorite places. Like,
yeah, no, I usually agree with you, but I don't know. I feel like, yeah, no, I agree with you. Like desert places in video games usually fucking suck, but for me,
yeah.
I feel like Final Fantasy XIV Ul'dah has like the best desert area from any video game I've ever played. Because yeah, Limsa, Lhasa, or whatever the fuck, or Gridania, like those places are way prettier for a fact. But I don't know. I just really like Ul'dah.
Yeah, I've been a fan of the pirate place that I'm at, mostly because there's just so many like levels to it, and there's a lot of really cool areas. Big. You know, and as someone who's basically only seen Ul'dah, because look, like if you go on YouTube and you try to like get caught up on the story or something, almost every video that you come across, whenever they start A Realm Reborn, they kind of just always pick Ul'dah. I'm not really sure why, but I've never seen Limsa, so I just, you know, whenever it gave me those options of where do you want to start, you know, it just gives you a bunch of like really beautiful, like stylized art depictions of what the worlds look like. And I just saw Limsa, and I was like, that place looks pretty fucking dope. So I just started it without knowing anything about it. And it kind of, from what I've read after I've started it, it's kind of, if you're a newcomer, it can be kind of overwhelming because of how big it is. And there's just so much stuff. Like it's easily like the biggest and maybe the most confusing starting area. But because that's how I've been learning, it's been really cool for me because I'm just kind of immediately getting used to and learning about some of the more like complicated things about exploring this world. So it's been kind of cool. I like to, I'm someone who is like, go hard or go home. And Limsa is kind of like go hard, you know, at least for me. So I've enjoyed it.
If we get Brandon, into Final Fantasy XIV, since I'm Ul'dah and you're Limsa, he has to do the forest area.
And most people say that that's like the best place to start. So maybe since he's not big on JRPGs or like, you know, the Final Fantasy games, maybe he'd be really into Grandia or Granadia. How do you pronounce it? I can't remember.
I have no idea. I just say Gridania.
Yeah. Gridania. Okay, cool. So that would be super cool. And then, bro, I don't know, maybe live stream or some shit. I don't know.
Ooh, that'd be tight.
Okay, so that is some Final Fantasy XIV news for you. And speaking of, you know, just like Square-ENIX stuff, have you heard of Forever Entertainment?
Sounds familiar. Forever Entertainment.
Okay, so these guys, I think probably their biggest, from what I can tell, one of their biggest games that they have made in very recent years has been the remake of a game called Panzer Dragoon, which you know, that was a PlayStation 1 game, I believe. And the remake of it got kind of mixed reviews. Some people were just glad to play the game again. I think a lot of people were just kind of like, it's just like, it still just feels like you're playing a PS1 game, you know?
Right.
So this is not a game that I've ever played, but the remake itself looks really good. And from what I can tell, it's pretty faithful to what that original game was.
Okay.
I've
heard of it, but I've never played it.
So Square-ENIX has basically announced that they are teaming up with with Forever Entertainment to work on a shit ton of remakes.
Ooh.
So you know, this is a very recent thing. So this, you know, we could very well not see anything about this, you know, for a while. But a lot of people are putting their money on this company remaking Chrono Trigger,
Oh,
which
that'd be
would
tight.
be, yeah, that'd be super tight. That's one of my favorite games of all time. Um, so I don't know. I mean, a lot of their games. Oh, they made Agony. I don't know if you've heard of
Mm,
that one, and like Cooking
no.
Simulator. I'm just kind of going through some of their games. They got some bangers on here like Hollow. They got some like dog shit games like Fear Effect Sedna. I think that was all also published by Square Enix, but anyways, they've got a lot of like indie type games on here, stuff that can be easily just like played on your phone. But you know, they develop a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
And one of their big ones as of recently was the Panzer Dragoon remake.
Okay.
So, you know, they've got their feet wet in some remakes. It seems like they got a good relationship with Square Enix. So,
Tight.
you know, maybe this could be super cool.
Yeah.
I what's up?
No, I was just gonna say I'll let you finish your thing. I have actually something that I just remembered.
Oh, okay.
That
Well,
I
yeah,
want
I
to
was
talk
just
about.
saying like I really don't have a huge opinion on this. Is just something that was announced last week that we kind of, you know, skipped over because there was just a shit ton of Final Fantasy VII
Mhm.
remake news and State of Play and Nintendo Directs
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff. But this, you know, this happened like a week ago or a little over a week ago, and I don't know. I feel like it's just worth mentioning since, you know, they have
Mhm.
been confirmed to remake a lot of Square properties. So that could be
Mhm.
super cool. It could be kind of a miss. We don't know. I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens.
Right.
But
Definitely.
that's
So
all
one
my thoughts on that.
so one thing that I want to talk about is there's this one company called Nippon Ichi Software, or NIS America here in America, and
Oh
they're the
yeah,
guys who
yeah,
made like the Disgaea games and all those
yes.
stuff. And apparently, a couple of days ago, they announced a Prinny Presents NIS Classics Volume One, which has for the Nintendo Switch and the PC, it has like two classic PS2 games called Phantom Brave and Soul Nomad. And
I
I've
have heard
played,
of
and I'm
Phantom
excited
Brave.
for that. And I fucking love Phantom Brave. I
Okay.
have it for the PS2. Still, I still own it, and the gameplay is very different from like a typical Disgaea game. I mean, it still has the same feel and stuff, but instead of moving on a grid, each character has like a circle that they have to like that they're allowed to move in. Like you're allowed to move within this circle and stuff like that. So it's a
Hmm.
little different, but I really love the story of this game. Like the characters in that are just, or the main character, I think her name's Morona. Like she's just so wholesome. Like she's just someone who can see ghosts, and she just wants people to love her, but everybody hates her because she can see ghosts and they think she's possessed. And she's just like, I just want to do good for my parents.
Wait,
And stuff like that. I'm like,
so
oh,
are both of
I love
these
her.
games
They're
connected to the
coming out. Yeah.
Disgaea series?
No, they're separate, but a lot of these Nichipon games, like their DLC, or I guess they're like post game content, like will have guest characters from Disgaea games, and
Oh,
vice
okay.
versa. Like Disgaea, their post content will have Phantom Brave characters.
Dude,
And so
I'm
yeah,
I'm
they
looking
announced
at
that.
I'm looking at this artwork for Soul Nomad and the World Eaters. I'm digging this artwork. It
Yeah,
looks
I'm excited for Soul
good.
Nomad too because I've never played it. But yeah, they're announcing that there's going to be like a kind of like what they did with the Mega Man games, where it's just a bunch of Mega Man games in one. They're pretty much doing that with a bunch of Nichipon software games. Just they're going to put Soul Nomad and Phantom Brave in one sort of package for you to buy for the Nintendo Switch or PC, which I'm
Okay.
excited for.
Dude, I'm looking at their website and there's a pre-order button and it just straight up takes you to the limited edition you know, the collector's edition, limited edition thing. And it's like a physical copy, and it comes in a huge box. And there looks to be, it says there is the NIS Classic Volume 1 Anthology Complete Soundtrack. There is the NIS Classic Volume 1 Compendium Hardcover Art Book, the Soul Mad and World Eaters Acrylic Stand with collector's coins, Phantom Brave acrylic stand with collector's coin, and just like a big old collector's box. So this is $100, and
Oh,
I
Jesus.
mean shit, dude. There's like two huge like like stands, like for if like you're a collector's person and you got like a shelf full of collectible stands and action figures and stuff like that. That's actually kind of a good deal, especially with 2 games also and a huge art book and 2 soundtracks and 2 really cool games. Not a bad deal.
Definitely.
I mean,
yeah,
for
I really love a lot of these games.
Yeah, I mean, for $100, Nintendo fucking published the Pokemon Let's Go games plus the Pokeball.
Right.
That's cool for $100 too. But 2 games, art book, 2 soundtracks, 2 collector's things.
Oh yeah, that's way better.
For also $100, that's a pretty, that's not bad. I might look into that.
At all.
Okay, well that's super cool news. Thank you for bringing that up. If y'all have never played these games or, have played them and you want to replay them, fucking give it a try, guys.
Go do it.
Next thing, this is kind of like, I think this is probably one of the coolest pieces of news that I've read as of recently. Hironobu Sakaguchi, the creator of Final Fantasy, and Nobuo Uematsu, the composer for, all of the games that Hironobu Sakaguchi was involved with. I mean, he's made a few tracks here and there for some of the recent Final Fantasy games. Like he did do the whole brand new theme song for the Final Fantasy VII remake. Yeah, so he's still active in the game community, but he is doing the entire full soundtrack for this this game that Hironobu Sakaguchi is making. It's called Fantasian. Have you seen the trailer for this yet?
I have not.
If you want to go ahead and just kind of like, have in the background while I'm talking about this game, like the trailer, it looks like a classic. It looks like a PlayStation 1 Final Fantasy game. Like it looks like Final Fantasy VII. It looks like Final Fantasy 8 and 9. The way that like you go from screen to screen, it looks really cool. It looks like they kind of created like dioramas of characters and just like world set pieces, and it looks like they photographed these images and made them into like 3D playable areas in this game. Like it looks like a diorama, and that's from what I've read about it, that's like their goal. That's like what they want to do, is have this diorama feel.
Ooh, this actually looks pretty cool, actually.
It looks cool. It's from the creator of Final Fantasy, so maybe it's, this could be the first game in a series of games that he could be making. I don't know. I'm intrigued, but it is, it's only available, at least maybe this could be subject to change, but it is available pretty much only on Apple, or what is it called? It's what
like
is it
Apple
called?
Arcade or something like that.
Yeah. So that's what it's going to be released on.
Damn.
But fuck it, dude. I don't know. I might figure out a way to play this game on my computer or something. Because I don't know if it's like you need an Apple device to do it. I think you just need like some sort of like Apple game subscription, and then you can like play this game. But I don't know.
Okay.
It's from Hironobu Sakaguchi's company called Mistwalker. I think this is they made some mobile games kind of recently, and I guess this is technically a mobile game, but it's purely single player.
Okay.
It doesn't look like there's any gacha mechanics. This looks like a full-fledged single player RPG that is just on phone devices. I'm sure if you have an Apple TV or something, you could play it on your TV too. But
probably.
It's got like a shit ton of staff that are on Final Fantasy VI,
Ooh.
So this looks really cool.
Will Kefka be a guest star villain?
Oh yeah. The final boss, just like no build up to it or anything, just haha, surprise, Kefka. Dancing Mad starts playing in the background.
That'd be tight.
So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what it is. I hope it's good. I really hope that, I hope that this is good in the fact that like it'll get enough attention and maybe be ported onto Nintendo Switch and PS4 and PS5 and Xbox and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just excited to see what they make.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, other than that, though, I feel like that's kind of all I got as far as some news stuff. A lot of cool stuff happening. But DJ, what are some games that you are playing right now?
Right now, now they're recording this podcast. Well, I mean, never mind. That's a fucking terrible joke. Anyway, right now I'm playing Final Fantasy VIII.
What were you gonna say?
Well, no, I meant right now, as in like as we're recording this. Like the moment we're recording.
You're just sitting there fucking grinding and Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. Anyway, right now I'm playing through Final Fantasy VIII, or I have been playing through Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh, and that's right.
I'm actually a lot further than I thought I was. Like I thought I was still in the middle of disc 3, and like no, I'm already on disc 4. Like I'm almost at the end. Yeah. So later today, after this podcast, I might actually beat the game.
Dude, maybe. Very cool.
I'm on.
Or sorry, yeah, you continue.
No, I was just going to say, like, I'm honestly really enjoying the game. Like, Final Fantasy VIII is the one game that I knew the least about besides 11 out of any Final Fantasy game. Like, I hardly knew anything with the story and stuff like that. And I'm honestly liking it a lot. Like, in terms of the story, it's great. I fucking love it. And, like, Final Fantasy VIII, because you know how, like, 7 through 9, they had, like, a bunch of pre-rendered cutscenes and stuff like that. Like, very rare. Final Fantasy VIII has like the most.
It's got a lot of
scenes. Like it's almost on par with like Final Fantasy X in terms of how many. Well, not as bad, but they got a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually
the gameplays.
Or sorry, yeah, you continue.
No, I was just gonna say the gameplay is pretty fun. I mean, because I know a lot of people shit on it in terms of the draw system. They don't like that. That one's fine. I think the only thing that I mainly don't like is how you obtain weapons and stuff like that, because you don't just buy weapons. You have to craft them and like find the specific items that you need in order to make those items, and then you also need to discover those items, because like throughout the world, you know how in Final Fantasy X they had those books that you could find to get to like increase your language or whatever for that one.
Yeah, the alphabet.
Yeah, they have something similar like that where there's just a bunch of different books lying around they can do. They're not necessary, but they can help with like learning new skills or obtaining weapons and
like
stuff
the
like
magazines or whatever.
Yeah, the magazines. Yeah, like they're scattered around the world, and you have to find them in order to get better equipment, which I kind of don't like that.
Huh. Interesting.
But otherwise, it's fine.
Yeah, I feel like for me, that concept of finding items to get better items, I feel like they really nailed it in Final Fantasy IX with synthesizing items.
Oh yeah,
because you could just like, if you had like a wrist and like a cotton robe or something, that's obviously the meme of like grinding for money or whatever, but you can make a lot of really powerful weapons from just like taking some items that you already have and then just putting them together and getting some like new shit. But that's interesting. I beat the first disc of Final Fantasy VIII whenever the remake or the remaster came out, and I don't think I got that far into like modifying weapons and stuff. The first disc is kind of purely throwing you on this like course into understanding the story. Which, from what I understood, just as far as what disc 1 contained, I was a fan of the combat. I think whenever I tried playing it a long time ago, I was just more so like, this isn't like Final Fantasy 13 or this isn't like Final Fantasy 7. Because I think those were the only 2 Final Fantasy games that I had played by the time I tried 8. Oh, well, in Final Fantasy 1. So it was just a little confusing to me back then, but when I recently replayed it, I can easily say that it's probably one of my favorites in the series.
Oh yeah, it's very good.
As an edgy boy, as an emo kid
who went
through all the phases in school.
Squall is super edgy. Like, people say Cloud is edgy. Nah, it's Squall.
Yeah, dude. Oh, dude. I mean, people who think that Cloud is edgy are people who like have only seen the movie Advent Children and kind of have like their preconceived idea of how he is based on that movie. But dude, he's so much more layered than just being like an emo bad boy. Whereas, you know, Squall has his growth. But he's immediately like, there's no question about it. You play that game and for a long time, he's just cynical. He's upfront. Yeah. He's kind of rude, but he's always right, you know? And he's just kind of an asshole for some of it. And he's very he's kind of depressing. Like, someone like me, I wouldn't mind hanging out with him, but there's a lot of people who'd be like, sorry, dude, we can't fucking hang out. You're too depressing, you know?
Right.
That, and I don't know. I fucking love it. Like, it feeds me.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
You know?
It feeds. The only thing that I will say, tips to people who are playing Final Fantasy VIII for the first time, something that I recently learned is don't level up too much, actually.
Yeah, don't the enemies level up with you?
Yeah, I recently learned that. I'm kind of fucked, but we'll see. Focus on your GFs, leveling those guys up and stuff like that. That'll get you through the game. Because, as you level up, so does the enemies, and they'll get more health, and they learn stronger spells and stuff like that, and just makes it harder on you. Yeah. So don't level up too much.
I mean, fuck, if that's what you want to do, you know, we can't stop you. Like, we can't stop you, but hey.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to help you out.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a game that I still want to finish. Like I said, I've only gotten through the first disc, but from what I've played of it, I fucking love that shit.
Hell yeah, dude.
But yeah, so you're about to finish Final Fantasy VIII. That's exciting.
Yup.
Anything else that you're getting through?
Well, that's the main one that I'm focusing on, but like every now and then on my phone I'll play fucking Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon and stuff like that. But one of the other games that I plan on playing soon, because I already have a list of games that I want to play. I'll say a couple of them. Like, after I beat Final Fantasy VIII, I want to finish Custom Robo, which for the GameCube, which is an action RPG. For those of you people that don't know, basically it's just like, pretty much it's just Pokemon, both robots, where you customize your own robot and you fight other dudes. It's a wacky, fun game. I first discovered it when they had the last one for the DS.
Sounds
like, this
was
a
sexy,
much more. It is pretty sexy. This was a much more popular series in Japan. Like, there's a total of 5 custom Robo games, but in America we only got the last 2, the one for the GameCube and the one for the DS. So I'm gonna finish that, and then after that I'm gonna replay/finish Disgaea 5. So I'm excited for that.
Okay. Yeah, dude, I still gotta hop on those Disgaea games, man.
Definitely, dude. They're fun. I enjoy them.
But speaking of kind of like tactical RPGs, because that's kind of what Disgaea is, right? Yeah. So I played through the demo recently of a game called Project Triangle Strategy. Did we talk about this on the last episode?
We did not know.
Okay.
But I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so this has the worst name of any video game I think I've ever played.
Yeah.
Like, it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of embarrassing. The thing, and what scares me about the naming, I mean, I'll go more into just like this game, but before we talk about the game itself, the name, guys, fucking Project Triangle Strategy. So Octopath Traveler, this is made by the same guys who did Octopath Traveler, and like I said on the last episode, I'm grinding my way through that game. It's fun. I enjoy that game. I'm excited for this, for this next game to release. But Octopath Traveler started off with the name of Project Octopath Traveler, So I really, really hope that this game is not fucking called Triangle Strategy. That's so stupid. This is the worst name ever. Anyways, the game's fun as shit. I love this game.
Oh yeah, it looks cool.
Some of the voice acting is pretty bad. Some of it's really good. But some of it, oh my god, dude. Basically after the first like wave of cutscenes happened, and I was able to, I just like changed the dialogue to Japanese. And like I said in the last podcast too, that's what I did with Octopath Traveler as well.
Yeah.
But so I don't know, maybe you're into English voice acting, maybe it's hard for you to get into some stuff that's Japanese voice acted. But for me, listening to this game in Japanese has made me better care about what's happening in the story. Because whenever I hear some people saying some really emotional or heavy shit, and they sound like this, it's like, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I can't get into it. Anyways, this is like a spiritual successor to Final Fantasy Tactics, which is, another game that both of us have. I know we have not played the first Tactics games. But after playing this, I gotta play it. I gotta play Final Fantasy Tactics. Like, this game is really cool. And anyways, that's one of the games that I've been playing. I'm really interested in sort of what's happening in this story. The story that happens in this demo is like chapter 6 and chapter 7 of what the full game will be. So they really just throw you in like right into the middle of the game. So they preface the intro of the demo like, hey, don't sweat it if you don't know what the fuck's happening in the story, because we just want to show you some of the gameplay elements and decision making stuff. A lot of this game heavily depends on like how you control the story. So that's kind of interesting too. Basically, the story and the tactical elements are all the gameplay. It's a bit cutscene heavy, but it's interesting. There's a lot of political stuff that goes on, but that's kind of how most tactical RPG games are.
Yeah, definitely.
So, it's a game that I think I'm gonna get whenever it comes out. But yeah, if you've never heard of it, or you're hearing this and it sounds kind of interesting to you, the demo is free. It's like a 3-hour long demo. Like, it's a good chunk of the game that you're playing. So yeah, check it out. It's free. Other than that, though, like I mentioned earlier, I'm playing Hotel Dusk. And like I said, we already talked about it, but I'm enjoying it. Are there any games that are kind of like on the backboard for you? Like games that have been on your backlog for some time that you want to start up pretty soon, or games that have just come out that you're looking to play?
Backlog, Chrono Trigger, and Pokemon Pearl. Also, just a bunch of games that like I've played like briefly as a kid, but have never finished. Because growing up, there was a lot of, because I played as a kid, I played a shit ton of video games, but I hardly beat any of them. Like, there's so many games where I would just like play a little bit, then I'm like, okay, and I want to play this game, or I want to play this game, but I've hardly beaten any of them. So now I'm trying to like go back and rebuy all the video games that I really liked as a kid and still enjoy now, and just play those. So I'm gonna do that. Like, I want to beat Folklore for the PS3.
Oh yeah,
Transformers for the PS2.
Dude, I have that on PS2 if you don't have it.
Oh, no, I have it.
Oh, okay, cool. I was going to say, bro, I got the disc. I'll give it to you.
And just a bunch of other Final Fantasy games, because I want to try and beat as many as I can before Final Fantasy XVI is released.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Do you think you're going to... We played through all of Final Fantasy IX on our Let's Play channel called Videoverse. But DJ, do you think that you're going to play through that by yourself before that comes out?
Yeah, for a fact. Okay.
Yes. I've been recently...
My plan is...
Sorry, yeah, you keep on talking.
No, I was just going to say, this is sort of like the structure of how I'm going to beat the Final Fantasy games. So I'm going to finish 8 and then play a couple other games. Then I'm going to beat 15. And then I'm going to go back and do 9. And then after I beat 9, I'm going to beat 2. And then continue with 14.
And then, I guess, until you get to 14, you've basically played every mainline game, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Other than I guess like 10 Part 2
11.
and 13 Part 2 and Lightning
Yeah.
Returns. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't played the prequels, which I'll do that after I beat the main lines.
Oh yeah, dude, you got to play fucking Crisis Core.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's
I
a
know
good
I got to
one.
play that. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are all the games that I have in the backlog.
Okay. Yeah, I think for me as well, a lot of my backlog is a lot of retro games. A lot of games that came out before I was born. Just
Right.
stuff from like the early 90s and 80s and all that. So, I think one of the biggest ones that I hope to really start playing pretty soon is Super Mario RPG, like we talked about in the
Oh
beginning.
yeah.
Just a game that
I
I
guess that's another thing in the backlog. Just a bunch of Mario
Yeah.
games. Because I've
Yeah.
hardly played any of them.
Yeah, and I forgot that you haven't like finished Final Fantasy 15. That's funny.
Yeah.
I remember.
I think I only
dude,
got 3 chapters in.
oh yeah, yeah, guys. I remember whenever that game came out, DJ made like a beautiful love letter post on his social media, where he very artistically took his game case out into the grassy land
Yup.
of his backyard and took this great
Yup.
photo with this poem written to Final Fantasy 15.
Yep.
This bitch only
And then I
played 3
hardly beat
chapters of it.
Yep. Also, just if anybody ever sees that post, I just want to clarify that is a joke. I'm not 100% serious. I just want to clarify
Nah,
that.
bro, he's serious.
But yeah. But yeah. I'll eventually beat that game.
Yeah. What about any new stuff? Is there anything new that's gonna come out pretty soon, other than Final Fantasy 16, that you're looking to play?
Not really. The only other game that I'm like relatively excited for is the launch title for the PS5, Demon Souls remaster.
Oh,
or
yeah.
remake.
Yeah.
That's
Dude,
really the only other game.
I have been not playing. Like Spider-Man Miles Morales came out on PS4, but I have not played it yet. And if you know me,
right, that
I'm
game.
a huge fucking Spider-Man fan.
Right.
Basically, I have avoided everything about that game, literally because I want to experience that game in the best possible quality that I can. So I'm not going to play that
Yeah.
game until I have it on PS5, right? But yeah, that's another game that I cannot wait to play that I just haven't been able to play because fucking PS5s are like unicorns, you know? Like I heard that I've heard that
you
they
know what?
exist.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, the only other new games I'm excited for, because I was thinking more like Sony, PlayStation, stuff like that. But in terms of Nintendo Switch, like I'm excited for what we talked about last episode, the new Pokemon games.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah,
excited
yeah.
for those, and also Disgaea 6. I'm excited for that too.
Yeah.
Those are some games also.
Yeah, I was reading some stuff about Disgaea 6 right before we started recording. Yeah, I know that there's going to be some cool stuff per each like version of the game that's released, like on Switch and PS4 and all that.
Yep.
So
Go up to level 99,999,999.
are you serious?
Yeah, that's the new level cap. 99 million.
Wow. That's so wow. I wonder. That's so interesting to me because like if that's the level cap, either you'll level up how you do like in any other normal RPG, or you're going to be fucking constantly leveling up, and then by the time that you're like at the end of the story, you'll be like at level 200,000, or like 2 million.
Maybe, because I mean, in
That
normal
might be
Disgaea
interesting.
games, the level cap is 9,999, and usually all the games that I've beaten, like I beat the story around level 100, and then there's just a crap ton of post game. That's usually how Disgaea games are. It's just like you beat the game around a level 100, and then there's just like a shit ton of post game that'll get you up to that many levels.
Sure.
So that they might do the same thing, where it's like you really only need to be up to like level 200, and then there's just like a shit ton of post game content.
Yeah. Wow. Dude. Fucking Disgaea. That's another thing too, dude. Like, there's a lot of these games that I really want to play. But even though I still do get a good amount of time to try to play whatever game I want to play, like thankfully my wife has we both got stuff that we want to do. She likes watching a lot of YouTube videos. I like playing a lot of video games, and I watch a lot of YouTube as well. But with having a baby and and other responsibilities, like right now, still trying to like figure out what I want to do with my like jobbing stuff. Right now it's just kind of like I don't got a whole lot of time to play some video games, but when I do, I try to be smart about what I want to play. Like,
I probably wouldn't recommend Disgaea right now.
You pour in a lot of hours, and even like Final Fantasy XIV, like that's kind of a game that you can never stop playing. Yeah. Like it just kind of goes and goes and goes. Like you can play that game for fucking forever right now. I'd be surprised if there's anyone out there who, has done everything that you can do in that game. I'm sure someone on the Final Fantasy XIV Reddit community has done that, but still.
For a fact, yeah.
But yeah, I want to get to Disgaea. It's a commitment. So are a shit ton of other games. But yeah, man, I'd say as soon as you get the chance to like play a game like Chrono Trigger, like that's a pretty short game.
I've heard it's short.
I'd say you can probably, you can get one of the endings to that game within the first like 15 to 20 hours of playing that game. You're not trying to like sink in a bunch of hours like you would like with a Final Fantasy game. Yeah. Like, I didn't realize how long I played Final Fantasy VI for, but when I looked on my Steam account and it showed my whole like playtime, I played that shit for like 70 hours.
Jesus.
It took me a long time to play that game for some reason. And I don't know, maybe I just left it open for a while and while my laptop was just open, and then I walked away to do something else. But that game in Final Fantasy 13, it took me like over 50 hours to like play both of those games, and they felt
same
like
for me with 13.
Like they didn't feel that long. But,
no, not at all.
Compared to those games, at least, like a game like Chrono Trigger, like you can beat that game like in a week, right?
Tight.
So yeah, whenever you get the chance, bro, it's a good one. Okay.
Definitely.
So, unless you have anything else, do you have anything else that you want to talk about? Anything on your mind?
No, not really.
Nothing well else. Then I would like to throw out an idea for something that we can do next week, Okay. Obviously next week we will we'll have our normal thing that we've kind of been doing. We'll kind of go over some news and give our opinions of that sort of thing. We'll talk about some other shit within the gaming community that we want to go over, or some updates, all that good shit. But next week, I want to, since, you're at your place and I'm at my place, I want to screen share with you my computer, and then me and you will go over a tier list. And since you're pretty much at this point, you're familiar with every Sid in the Final Fantasy series. We're going to go ahead and we're going to rank the Sids. Okay, so DJ's audio cut out, but he fixed that just now. So right after I asked what he thought about having a Sid tier list, it was just silent. So it was funny because I felt really insecure for a second. thought it was a bad idea. What do you think about having a Sid tier list?
No, I'm down. I think it'll be funny.
Okay.
I just think it'll be like a funny callback to one of the ideas that you had for a podcast called Too Many Sids. This is pretty much just like
that'll be the segment.
Yeah. Tight.
Cool. Awesome. So you can look forward to that. If you have any other ideas or just like fucking anything pertaining to this podcast or anything else we could do in the future, go ahead and
let us know.
Give us your thoughts. If you have any emails or anything like that, like if you want to send us an email or something like that, you can email this podcast and we'll get back to you basically as soon as you email us, and that would be at randomencounterrpg@gmail.com. On the YouTube channel and on other places, you can find that link in the About section on the channel. Other than that, we have a Discord as well that you can go ahead and join. I'll leave the links to all of that in descriptions and on the channel, all of that stuff.
All that good shit.
On the Discord, you can have conversations with us. We'll talk about everything, video games, RPGs, JRPGs, all that good shit.
The goodest of shit.
Yeah. Pretty sure there's some other stuff too, but I don't know. I can't remember.
That's pretty much it.
If you have anything that you want to talk to us about, go ahead and let us know.
Just anything. Please
here.
talk to us.
Yeah, we love talking to you guys. Even if you want to just tell us your most deepest, darkest secrets. If you want to confide in us about maybe the person who you killed, I don't know. I'll listen to you. Yeah. Anyways, that's gonna do it, ladies and gentlemen, for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Oh wait, real fast before we go.
Oh.
DJ, what are you working on? What are you doing?
Oh, right. Yeah, that part.
Where can people find you and other shit that me and you do?
Oh, yeah. So speaking of me and Gavin, we also have another channel called Videoverse, which is pretty much just our Let's Play channel where we play and talk about all kinds of different video games like Shadow of the Colossus, Mega Man, Spyro, Dark Souls, you name it, we play it, except for a couple of games we won't play. But yeah, you can check us out there.
Call of Duty.
Yeah. You can check us out there, link in the description below, all that good shit. And I have my own personal channel called Mushroom Man, which is primarily just a comedic review channel where I talk about / make fun of a bunch of different anime, movies, and video games, while also every now and then doing something a little bit different pertaining to one of those topics. And the last thing that I have is I also have a podcast coming out pretty soon called The Ramen Stand, where we pretty much just talk about all things anime. You can check, that'll come out pretty soon. I will say probably sometime this weekend. Like this will come out, that podcast will come out sometime after this second episode. So look forward to that.
If you have any trouble finding Mushroom Man on YouTube, just look up 1 second of every episode of One Piece. That shit's got like thousands and thousands of views.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It would be nice if the other videos got that too, but that's okay.
I know. Well, whenever I look up Mushroom Man, and it's like it's all one word with one M at the end of Mushroom and Man, so it's MUSHROOMAN.
Yeah.
So it's kind of clever, not gonna lie.
Absolutely.
But whenever I search it up, I always see your like top 10 anime or something. Like that's always like the first thing that comes up.
Yeah.
But
and then when you scroll down, you don't fucking. It's upsetting, but that's okay. One day.
Yeah. Anyways, links to all of that stuff will be in the subscription. What? What the fuck, Gavin?
Subscribe.
What the fuck? Anyways, just subscribe, do all that shit. Share this podcast with anyone who has a desire to hear some people just, shooting the shit about podcasts.
Share with the president.
About podcasts. About
podcasts.
I mean, fuck, dude, we'll talk about podcasts. I don't care.
There's probably a podcast where they talk about podcasts.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Anyways, that's going to do it for us today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for chilling with us.
Yeah.
We will see y'all guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.